Hi, everyone. Thank you so much for the warm welcome, and thank you to TEDx Youth at Ngee Ann for having me here today as well. Hope everyone is feeling good. And today, I want to start off by asking, we've got a lot of different age groups here in the room. What do you guys think will be the worst decade of your lives? Is it your teens, your 20s, 30s, 40s? What do you think? Shout it out loud. Now is, how old are you? Yeah, for you, probably right. What do you think? 20s? Well, I'm of the opinion that it will be your 20s as well. Your 20s are a time of your life where you have a lot of firsts. Maybe your first school, maybe your first heartbreak, maybe your first job, right? And here Dr. Meg J says that 20s are the most defining decade of your life as well as the most difficult one. There's actually something in your brain, it's called the prefrontal cortex. I'm not sure if anyone studies neurochemistry, you might have seen this. The prefrontal cortex doesn't actually fully mature until you're about 25 years old, which means that if you are in your early 20s, you will be making a lot of embarrassing mistakes. And that's okay. That's completely normal. You know, I've been through it, you've been through it, we've all done it, right? And the prefrontal cortex is responsible for a lot of things like decision making, impulse control, and things like that. So I just turned 30 a couple of months ago. I've been looking back on the last decade, and I really wanted to share with you some lessons and some stories. So today I'm going to be sharing the 3 things I wish I knew in my 20s. Lesson 1, attention is not affection. Now, a lot of you who are students here at MP, put your hands up. Students, yes. A lot of you are the social media generation. You live, you breathe social media. You were born into it. You are the ones that are trying to stop your parents from getting scammed by Facebook posts, correct? Yes. I've been there. I know how it feels like. And social media is just, there's so much to it, right? I have a complicated relationship with social media. I think if my job wasn't so dependent on it, I would probably try to keep a distance from it. At the start of COVID, I remember, this was 2020, I decided to join TikTok, right? I was like, I joined TikTok, create videos, do the dances and all that, which I'm a bit too old to do now. But at the time, it was very cool. I remember I created a video and it hit 100,000 views. To some of you, that may not be a lot, but to me, at that age, it blew my mind. I was like, 100,000 views? People care what I'm doing. They like, they comment, they share. I felt so validated. I felt so valued, right? And then I noticed a pattern. The next time I created a video and it hit 100,000 views, it was not enough for me because now you can see I've got a new dopamine baseline. I keep wanting to chase that high. It's like with any addiction, right? And out of nowhere, I had a video. It was the most silly video. It hit 24 million views. It was me unboxing an iPhone. I got the iPhone 13 at the time. This was quite a few years ago. It's like, unboxing my new phone. 24 million views is very clearly what we call a fluke, right? We don't know how the algorithm works. We truly don't. It was a fluke, but my brain doesn't know that. My brain thinks, this is my new dopamine baseline. This is what we aim to achieve every single time. But it's absolutely not possible. And we keep chasing that feeling of being liked, right? That feeling of wanting to be validated and valued by online attention. But unfortunately, being liked is not being loved. Then comes what we call the crash or the slump. This is where, obviously, you're not going to hit that high again, right? It is not possible. And then you crash and you feel like, why am I doing this? What's the point? It's just science. So my advice to you is to water your life offline. So I actually have this program. It's called Brave Voices, where I teach youth public speaking and, I teach them how to be confident. Even though, I have that, I was thinking, I've been in radio for 10 years, right? What can I impart? There must be something I can impart. In my last session, one of these youth, you'll see him in the video. He's got a very sassy personality. He wants to be a K-pop idol. That is his dream. And he came to me and he said, teacher, I want to go viral, right? And he showed me his TikTok. And I said to him, why do you want to go viral? He said this to me, I want to be famous. And that's not the first time I've heard that. I've heard that quite a lot from a lot of students that I work with. I want to be famous. But I think we can look a little bit deeper, right, and ask ourselves, why? Why do they want to be famous? Or why do you want to be famous? And I think in his case, because maybe he didn't have the physical or emotional stability back at home, and because of that, he thought that he could fill that hole, right, with the validation and the affection of people online. But as we know now, that is not true. It doesn't fill that hole. So my advice to you is water your life offline. There's so much, in your support systems, so much that people can help you physically and come to your aid. And really, true connection lies beyond the online world. Now, my second lesson is everything happens for a reason. I am a skeptic myself. I'm a skeptic. I'm a pessimist. I'm a glass half empty kind of girl. I'm always imagining, what's the worst that could happen? Not what's the best that could happen, right? But a couple of incidents in the last few years have really made me believe that everything happens for a reason. Has anyone heard of this before? The burnt toast theory? Burnt toast theory, yes. So the burnt toast theory posits that if you burn your toast in the morning, right, that 2-minute delay it causes you, like, oh my gosh, I'm so stupid. Why did I burn my toast? Waste of my time, so inconvenient. That 2 minutes is actually protecting you from something that you were never meant to be at or were never meant to see. And it might not be a burnt toast. It could be a missed opportunity. You could have missed your bus. You could have missed your train. Whatever it is, it asks you to trust that there is a reason for that. Either it's protecting you for something or it's redirecting you to something better. Last year, I actually had an opportunity that really made me believe everything happens for a reason. I got a call sometime in September from Universal Pictures, and they said, Germaine, we want you to be a part of this. Wicked for Good Singapore premiere. I remember, oh my gosh, they want me to be a part of that. That's crazy. I'm a huge Ariana Grande fan. I love Wicked so much. It was truly such a dream come true. So I joined the call, right? There was a call with all the other production staff. And I see in my screen, there are 2 other hosts there. And I get a bit confused. I'm like, how come you need so many hosts? How come? I thought I was hosting, right? They said, okay, Germaine, so what we're going to do is we're going to get you to host the pre-event. So that's what they call the fan meets. It's not the yellow carpet or, red carpet where you walk down. And in that moment, I felt a little bit disappointed. I felt like, I'm not hosting the main event, right? That's the glitz, the glam. That's where everyone, it's the thing that globally they will see around the world. And it wasn't that I wasn't grateful. I think there was a lot of self-doubt there. It was thinking, why wasn't I good enough to host the yellow carpet? Nevertheless, I threw myself into rehearsals. It was a lot of late nights after my radio show, going home, sleeping at 1 or 2. I woke up at 4 a.m. to do my hair and makeup by myself at home. I had to rush down by 6 for rehearsals. It was brutal. But then the big day rolled around, and it was every bit as challenging and fun as I expected. So the fan meet turned out to be a very intimate affair. It turned out to be their first stop on the Singapore press tour. So they were in great spirits. You can see from the photos here, big smiles, full of energy, full of zest, right? And this was before they were all sweaty as well. So this was their first stop. They went around the barricade. They took photos, selfie after selfie after selfie. They signed every single thing. They didn't want to leave. They just wanted to stay there, right? They didn't want to leave. It was truly incredible sights. And of course, now we know what happened at the global premiere. This was very, very disappointing. Absolutely horrible. And from someone with such ugly hair as well. I couldn't believe it. And I was on the yellow carpet right after this incident had happened, right? I was behind doing interviews, and you could tell their whole demeanor was just changed. They were not having it. They kind of just wanted to leave. And they felt very unsafe, right? So before that, at the fan meets, there was a moment towards the end where they're standing in front of the steps, right? And I'm saying, give it up for the cast and director of Wicked for Good. Boom, confetti guns. What a beautiful moment. It was truly incredible. And I'm standing behind their entourage, a lot of people there. I see 2 hands kind of like gesturing like that. And it was Ariana and Cynthia. I was like, huh? And I'm in my work mode. I'm like, okay, who do I need to call to help them? They need someone, manager? No, hairstylist? I don't know, dress code? Something, right? Then I realized they were looking at me dead in the eyes. It was crazy. They were saying, come. And I was like, I felt so stupid about the next thing I did, I thought about it for days. I said, me? I was like, me? Not into the mic, right? And they were like, yes, come. At this point, they're like, hurry up. And they, invited me to join a group photo with them. They didn't have to do that. It was very kind of them too. This was their day. I'm just the host. I'm just working. But then it got me a photo that I'll never ever forget for the rest of my life. Thank you. It's a core memory forever and ever. I'm printing this out for my kids. I'm framing it up. And the lesson here is that everything happens for a reason. Even if at the time it may seem like, how come I'm receiving a lesser opportunity? Or how come, it's not where I was wanting to go? Always believe in the process and trust that it's redirecting you to something better. Lesson 3 comes with a question, the age-old question, can money buy happiness? What do you guys think? I hear yes, no. I hear depends. Okay. The answer is categorically yes. Money can buy happiness, okay? But not in the ways that you think. And you might be like, wow, it's very rich to get money advice from this girl who was ridiculed online. To be fair, this was before my prefrontal cortex developed, so I made a lot of mistakes. I would like to think I've grown a lot since then, okay? So yes, money can buy happiness. Financial resources can serve as a buffer against life's negative events. What does that mean? That means that money doesn't directly lead to happiness, but in a way, indirectly leads to happiness. Money affords you freedom. Money affords you choices, control over your time, making your life more comfortable. Indirectly, money can lead to happiness. So yes, money can buy happiness. But the one thing that money can't buy back is time with the people that you love. And I had to learn this the hard way. I want to introduce you to my grandma. She has the warmest smile. She is just the kindest, absolute sweetest. You'll see she has these chubby cheeks that obviously I've inherited from her as well. My grandma was the first person that I told about my fiance, who's here as well to support me. And I told her because he came over one day when she was home, and I said to her in Mandarin, don't tell my parents yet because they don't know yet. Miss Girl kept my secret. She kept my secret all the way. She had my back. Last year in June, she was admitted to the hospital, but it was nothing new. This had gone on for 1 or 2 years already. She was in her old age, right? And she had a lot of ailments. She had to go in and out. I went to go visit her when she was just admitted, and she wasn't doing too well. She wasn't feeling too comfortable. But I thought, she'll be out in a week or two, and I'll go visit her when she's at home. And for the next few weeks, it's not that I didn't want to visit her. I think I kept making up excuses in my head about work, Oh, it's so inconvenient to have to drive down there, I have to take time off from work. Between my shoot, I have to rush and rush. So I didn't visit her, right? And weeks went by. I was sitting in a meeting at MediaCorp, and I got a text out of nowhere from my parents, and it said, your grandma's not doing so good. I think you guys need to come and see her as soon as possible. I remember Avery was there as well. I remember jumping up from my seat. I was like, I gotta go. I gotta go see my grandma. Ran out of the meeting, ran to my car, drove all the way to Singapore General Hospital. I went to the reception with my NRIC. You have to scan in these days. So she scanned my NRIC and she said, ma'am, the ward is full. It's maxed out on visitors. You cannot go in. And I said, please, you have to help me. She's dying. I need to see her, right? She said, let me call my supervisor. So she calls her supervisor, and I'm standing there at the reception. I'm going numb at this point, right? And she comes back 5 minutes later, and she says, okay, they said, okay, you can go up now. I run into the lift. I rush up, go to the ward. I open the door, and I see my family gathered around her bed. But I was too late. She had stopped breathing about 5 minutes before I got there into the ward. And the thing about grief is that it doesn't hit you immediately. And it doesn't even hit you at the funeral or the wake. It hits you in the everyday when they are not there. It hits you in the empty seats at birthdays, at Mother's Day. I'm getting married this year. She will not be there, unfortunately, but I do believe that she will be there in spirit. And I'm telling you this because if I could go back in time, I would make the time to spend with my grandma. It wouldn't be about work. I would take time off work because money cannot buy back time with the people that you love. And the truth of the matter is that people that you love don't need your success. They just need your time and your presence with them. And I'm not saying don't work hard, don't be ambitious, don't build your career, right? That's not what I'm saying. Go and do all those things, but don't confuse success with having a fulfilled life. And don't confuse attention with affection. And always remember that the richest people are the ones who invest in their loved ones around them. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.